Good morning and welcome to class again. Wednesday morning, and here we go. Your discussions were interesting last week. It's always fun to read what you have to say, and occasionally I will make comments on it, and I'd really like to get into the discussion, but they're your discussions. I think you hit on the message on what is mental illness. It's really a hard thing to answer. What it is to one person, we say somebody's crazy, they're acting crazy, they look crazy, they are crazy. And that's probably pretty much the only definition we give to a whole lot of mental illness without really thinking through what we're saying or what we're doing. The DSM-4, was one of those volumes that we were really familiar with. And then here comes the DSM-5. And what they did was they went through every single thing in there, and they made many, many changes. There are things that were once mental illnesses that no longer are. And there are things that maybe you or I might not think they're mental illnesses, but now are. The rules for autism and the autism spectrum have changed. There's a lot of mental health rules on what makes something a disease that have changed. And I don't recommend necessarily that you buy a DSM-5 because they're a huge volume and very, very expensive. There are small desk copies, and I haven't seen the new one yet for the DSM-5, but if I have one before too long, I will share it with you. I like them because they're little and they just sort of sit there and you can go through and review. But the reality of it is this, that we've become such a litigious society that you must be able to prove everything in court. You can't take over guardianship or custodial services on someone just because you think they're crazy. You have to prove it. And if it's not in the DSM-5, then it is not a mental illness. And that is to protect the client, and it's also to protect practitioners. It's really easy to blame everything on the doctor or the whoever the counselor is or whatever. And when you get into this field, I highly recommend that you have insurance to cover any time you might be sued, because trust me, it happens. If you ever want to hear some nightmare stories, I have my own share, and so I do make sure that I have liability insurance. And right now I've checked for students to see what's available, and there's nothing through memberships in CASRA or USPRA. There are when you get into master's level programs, and then I would highly recommend it to you, just because you never know when that's going to happen. But remember that the DSM-5 serves as an outline, a guide, if you will, for what makes something a mental illness. And whether you agree or disagree with it, it's both a blessing and, a non-blessing to those of us who have to work with it. Please continue to do good work. This week you have an assignment from your textbook. And I didn't know that when I ordered the textbook, I ordered the second edition. And that's what I intended for you to have because it's available. It's out there. You can get a used copy. You can borrow one from somebody who already took the class. Unfortunately for us, the DSM, or the book now is in the third edition, which didn't come out until October. But the bookstore has the third edition in the bookstore. And what I've done is I'm getting a desk copy of it so that I can go through and do the questions for you where the second and the third, match up. But it means I have to go side by side with both textbooks and do that, and I don't have my copy yet. So what I am doing this week, as you will notice, I have typed the question from the second edition and put it into Blackboard. And I will do that for the next couple of weeks until I can make that transition between the two books. And I'm sorry for that. I hope it doesn't cause you an inconvenience. Anyway, you should be getting into more of the meat of the class and into the videos. The ones that I do are always going to be short. I try to answer questions about the previous week, which I just did on the DSM-5. You don't have to watch them, and I know some of you don't, because some of the questions that you've had, like is there a textbook in this class, you would know if you had watched the video. So, watch it if you want, don't if you don't want to. The cat watches it with me, so I feel really good that I have one creature who pays attention to what I say. If you have questions, here again, give me a call. Be sure you watch the videos and know that in the critical thinking questions, if you don't use examples from everything that you see and read, then you're not going to get full credit. And those points add up, even though there's only 110 points in this class. They go very, very quickly. So, hope I talk to you or see you soon. Have a great week.